So all of this is primarily from my personal research, my personal experience. So take everything I say with a pinch of salt. If your way is working for you, let it work for you. Hey guys, I am Thembi Matroshe and welcome to my channel. Today I will be bringing you unpopular opinions on, drumroll, dieting edition. Before we get into it though, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. We are growing. I'm finally on 2K subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I love you. To make this a little bit interesting, I'll prepare my Sunday cheat meal while I chat. I'm going to be having my chicken wings made in like a Nando's style and a carrot cake that I baked yesterday. Sorry if this oven sound is bothering you, but obviously I can't cook if the oven is not on. The first one I would like to talk about is oils. Not all oils are created equal. Oils have different purposes, oils have different smoke points, oils have different flavors. You're made to believe that everything you used to do at home was not good, and I was under the impression that sunflower oil is not healthy, olive oil is the way to go. I realized that sunflower oil is not actually horrible. The best thing about it is the fact that it can tolerate very high temperatures. It doesn't impart its own flavor on any food, so it's obviously amazing for frying. The only problem is that it has higher levels of polyunsaturated fats, which you should not be eating in excess. My favorite oils include coconut oil, grapeseed oil, canola oil, and olive oil. We actually exposed to olive oils that are blended instead of the virgin olive oils, so those ones tend to have a lower smoke point, and when you fry with them, the flavors and the nutrients burn very easily. It's best to use your olive oil in your dressings when you want to make a hummus, or if you want to use it for dipping bread, you know, with balsamic vinegar. I really lately like grapeseed oil for frying and roasting. It withstands the heat, and it's actually, I don't know, I can't taste the flavor, so I assume it's got a neutral flavor. I also really like coconut oil, especially for baking things like granola. It imparts like an amazing coconutty flavor. Distinguish whether an oil is for frying, whether it's for baking, whether it's for cooking, and all of this is determined by its smoke point. If your olive oil is virgin, you'd be able to do all of those three things, but if it's blended, your grapeseed oil and coconut oil you can use for baking, you can use for roasting, you can use your grapeseed oil for frying. So it's also dependent on preference, of course. I love canola oil. I'm actually using it right now because it has that neutral taste. I find that it's slightly more affordable than grapeseed oil, and you can use it for multiple, you know, purposes. I've always had people tell me that if you are trying to lose weight, do not season your food. And I had trainers, well, particularly one trainer who did not season his food. This guy would make his chicken breast plain, he would have his veggies plain. No way, sweetie. Like, if this means I'm not going to be able to lose weight, I can't do it.
You can't do it. I can't.
How can you promote a healthy, sustainable diet if you're not allowed to season your food? Realize that the actual issue around spices is spice mixes and certain spice blends, because when obviously these companies are making these spices, they want to make them flavorful and they also want to preserve them. Like right now I'm using this chicken rub from Woolies. Let's just look at the ingredients. The first three ingredients are salt, garlic, sugar. Any labeling or, you know, ingredients, the top three ingredients are usually the largest in quantity. So if salt and sugar are the biggest in this spice rub, it means that automatically this thing will spike up your sugar and salt intake just in one meal, when you're supposed to stick to a prescribed sugar and salt intake. that affects your ability to lose weight automatically, because you are supposed to be avoiding sugar intake. And then also the issue of hypertension, high blood pressure, in other words. You're supposed to pizza with your salt intake. Spices I prefer to use are spices such as cayenne pepper, turmeric, cinnamon. Use your garlic powder, onion powder. Instead of using garlic salt or onion salt, you still get the punch and flavor just without that added salt or the added sugar. Whether it is imperative to eat 3 meals a day, a lot of people manage to have, let's say, 6 meals in a day, and you know, they are reasonably healthy, they don't have blood sugar issues, they manage to get enough nutrients through those, let's say, 6 smaller meals in a day. I think if you can space out your calorie intake in 6 meals in one day, you can do that in 2 meals, you can do that in 1 meal. Certain people with illnesses like diabetes and just general blood sugar issues may not be able to intermittent fast. Intermittent fasting has really trained me to eat when I need to. Crash diets are my absolute pet peeve. It's basically wanting, you know, instant gratification. And how do you gauge whether a diet is a crash diet or not? I think the first thing you should ask yourself is it sustainable? I would like to go straight into keto or ketogenesis and Banting, because I think they are quite similar in their ideologies. Low carbs or zero carbs, high fats and moderate proteins are the key to losing weight, which is, you know, scientifically true. It's been proven. Some people like it because they tend to be able to eat, I guess, almost anything they want, as long as it does not contain the carbs. Now, my only issue with this diet is the fact that, or these diets, are the fact that they are like extremely restrictive. A healthy diet is one that is balanced, one that includes food from, you know, all, or if not most, food groups. A healthy diet should consist of whole foods, which are carbs most of the time. Your oatmeal, your legumes. I'm not saying that these diets do not work. I guess some people have managed to have a somewhat healthy lifestyle with the inclusion of them. The only thing I'm against, people have basically been told that certain foods are bad. Bread is bad, pasta is bad, oats or any type of porridge is bad, and I am vehemently against that. And I think that, you know, with moderation and strictness, a diet can be extremely beneficial when it includes certain things like some of the ones that I've mentioned. And I guess for some people, sustainability is not even a priority. For some people, losing weight is the goal. I low-key got into trouble for this one on Twitter. I was watching the Kardashians like a few weeks back, and it was the episode where basically Kim is coming for Kourtney for being this like gluten-free queen. I also was interested in that idea, like, is gluten-free really the way? A lot of people are under the misconception that going gluten-free is equivalent to living a healthier lifestyle, or maybe making healthier food choices. There are some people who are gluten intolerant, people who have celiac disease, and just generally people who can't take gluten in their system. If you do cut it out, you will typically go for whole foods, healthier foods, because most of them don't include gluten. However, I think that people are under the impression that gluten equals weight loss, but the fact remains that not all gluten-free food is healthy or the healthier alternative. It still has to be proven that gluten-free foods help with bloating, but from my own research, I haven't really seen that. Gluten-free foods don't make a difference on your system if you're not gluten intolerant or if you don't have celiac disease. Language around eating, healthy eating. I was called out by my good sis Foyen. Basically, I was just going on about how, like, all of these like lockdown foods are so unhealthy. I'm here for anyone who's looking for healthy alternatives. Those were my words. And the good sis was like, these foods are not necessarily unhealthy, they might just not be conducive to losing weight. However, if you do make yourself, let's say, fried chicken at home, it might be healthier than the fried chicken from a store with the 3 letters that we all love. You are using fresh oil, you're not reheating oil, getting all those ugly trans fats. You're using the spices of your choice. Maybe you're cutting out salt, maybe you're cutting out sugar. A lot of elements that are involved in cooking mechanisms that assist in your food being healthier. Bread is healthy, pasta is healthy, rice is healthy. All of these things that we have deemed as unhealthy just because they can contribute to you gaining weight might not necessarily be unhealthy when eaten in a balanced diet, when eaten moderately, when prepared in a healthy manner. I think we should just change our way of talking just so we have healthier relationships with food. I'm not so much of a fan of that meal prepping that we were all into like at some stage in our lives, where you just meal prep all your foods stack them in the fridge so that you can like have all your foods ready for the week. I mean, there are a lot of reasons to not like meal prepping, but I think the main one for me is the food waste. Make all your lovely meals, and when Wednesday comes, you are fed up. I soon found home freezing, and like obviously this might be general knowledge or common knowledge for certain people, but for me it was not. I always had a freezer, but I was not using it to freeze my food. If I make, let's say, a casserole or a veggie bake, and chances are I'm not going to be able to eat an entire casserole, so I've resorted to freezing it and using one of these containers or just your normal scuffed in. Freeze it, and you know, when you want to eat it, you just leave it out to thaw. Then you reheat it either in your microwave or in the oven. So this helps me if, let's say, I prepare lentils, because I have lately resorted to cooking my lentils from scratch. My lentils, my chickpeas, you can easily make it in batches, and then you just freeze it. Brings me to the next point, which is canned foods versus fresh foods or dried foods. And this has different components, but I guess the main source of this discussion is because of the sugar and salt intake. So I have resorted to limiting the amount of canned foods that I consume. Canned foods provide us with a lot of convenience, a lot of ease. I guess for some people tend to be cheaper than the fresh versions. However, I've noticed that with legumes, the canned versions tend to be more expensive. So if you purchase a can of chickpeas or if you purchase a can of lentils, chances are it will be more expensive than the dry version. These have already been prepared, right? Your dry chickpeas still need to be cooked for hours. So what I resorted to doing is, you know, making sure that I buy the dry version, giving myself time to prepare it and freezing it in small batches. But if that's not your gig and you're not about that like life of preparing food for hours, then I guess you could resort to still using the canned versions, but instead of just dumping it into your food, rinse it prior, because that does get rid of some of those preservatives which tend to be sodium and sugar. Meal replacements, our shakes, our protein shakes, our Herbalife shakes, our juicing, because there are a lot of these juicing fads out there and we automatically think of them as healthy, which they are to a certain extent. But now my question is, are they sustainable, or are they worth including in a weight loss journey or just a healthy diet when you are trying to create lifelong habits? Not speaking about Herbalife as an entire brand. However, what I'm talking about right now is their shakes or their smoothies. And this also applies to like whey protein, even your plant protein powders, all of these things, even our homemade juices packed with nutrients that we would include in our diets, this is just me, maybe it won't apply to everyone. When you are consuming food that is in liquid form, your mind doesn't quite digest the fact that you are eating, so there will still be that feeling inside you that is not quite satisfied. I guess cutting time when you are like on the go but still want to maintain your healthy eating habits. However, I don't think that it might be the most sustainable way for developing these healthy habits. It does not promote healthy food preparation. I still want to be able to know how to make a healthy meal in under 15 minutes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with these alternatives. However, I think that they should also be included in a balanced diet. I think that you shouldn't only be consuming smoothies or juices. This is the notion that healthy food is expensive. Granted, hake, salmon, organic produce, dairy versus a burger from McDonald's, Streetwise 2 from KFC. Obviously you can see the price disparities within those two things. I think certain superfoods like chia seeds, goji berries, desiccated coconut, almonds, coca nibs, all of these things that we love and are delicious and aesthetically pleasing might not necessarily be pertinent. Go back to your whole foods, go back to your fresh produce that is affordable from your local grocer like Pick and Pay or ShopRite or whatever is nearest to you. Go back to buying your brown rices, buy your lentils, buy your chickpeas. All these things that I had mentioned regarding the dry versus canned versions tend to be cheaper. Your good old potatoes, your good old carrots. I think we just tend to overcomplicate certain things. I typically eat a bowl of oats every morning. Oats is the most affordable breakfast for me and it is a staple in my diet. However, on the weekend, I'll afford myself a little splurge. So I'll have a bit of salmon, I'll have a bit of Avo alcohol. I think that this is something we need to talk about. It's time for us to have this chat about alcohol. Alcohol, as I've been saying in this whole discussion, when consumed in a moderate way within a balanced and healthy diet, is not problematic at all. And I'm not speaking about addictions, I'm not speaking about alcohol abuse. I'm speaking to the person who consumes alcohol at a party, over dinner, with friends, by themselves. Alcohol is totally fine. However, within weight loss, healthy eating, there are certain forms of alcohol that we know are not conducive to losing weight or just generally not the healthier option. So your ciders, for example, super high in sugar, super high in calories. Obviously that will not be beneficial for your weight loss. Your red wines or your wines in general tend to be better for your heart, tend to have less calories. Your spirits, when I did drink, I typically would mix my whiskey with soda water. That was always my option, or just sparkling water, or just have it neat, or with a block of ice. Other people don't like this obviously, but it does tend to give you less calorie intake when you have it in that way. If you are trying to lose weight, like I was a couple of months ago, I completely cut out alcohol. And that's because my trainer put me on this diet where he was like,
no bread, no carbs, no sugar, no dairy, no meat, no fish, no alcohol. And I'm hungry.
I kid you not, once alcohol leaves your life, you will see results with your weight loss. You cannot not exercise. I think this lockdown has shown us more than anything that exercise in any shape or form is important. Getting your joints and ligaments moving just to activate umzimba. A lot of people are looking for ways to lose weight without going to the gym, or without taking a run, or without going for a walk, or without taking a swim. If you are physically able-bodied, exercise. It's very important. Waist trainers and thermal belts. I think a lot of people are under the misconception that waist trainers, thermal belts can give you a slim waist. Walking around all day wearing something that constricts your breathing, something that is interfering with your organs such as your ribs, your entire function up here, is not good. So that is waist trainers in particular, the ones that are like a corset, constrict a lot of functions that you'd be able to do, like bending down. A lot of people claim that waist trainers improve your posture. All of this, to me, I'm not about it. Waist training is a thing. It is a thing where you can train your actual waist to go inward. However, that disrupts a lot of the bodily functions. It can displace the ribs. I'm not saying these things do not work. I'm just saying that they are not sustainable. They are not the healthiest ways to go. It is just scary, point blank. You don't want to kill yourself because you're trying to get a slimmer waist. The thermal belts, I don't think they work, because the idea with thermal belts is the fact that you are sweating, so you will lose more weight. However, if I'm doing sufficient exercise, I am sweating. Waist trainers, I feel, oversell the fact that you can use a certain product instead of exercise. I personally once went to the gym with a waist trainer and I almost fainted. I am of the belief that exercise should not be painful. Exercise should be challenging. Exercise should burn. Exercise should push you to your limits. However, if you are in excruciating pain, you need to stop. Have, let's say, an issue with your body, your knee, your back, your shoulders, or whatever, then you should either do a modified version of the exercise or not do the exercise at all. The other thing is your body should not be excruciatingly sore for weeks afterwards. Especially if you're getting into it, you need to pace yourself. You should not shock your body, especially if you want it to be a sustainable lifestyle. You need to do things that will make you feel good. Isolating certain body parts. I know with like circuit training, there will be certain workouts that will work certain, parts of your body, which is fine because you're doing like an entire circuit, or on that particular day you're working your legs, the particular day you're working your upper body. It's fine. I, however, have an issue with certain people who think that they can work one part. Let's say you want a flat stomach, boom, that's all you're gonna do. Or let's say you want a firm bum, boom, you're just going to be squatting every single day. That defeats the point of functional exercises. I think exercise should assist us in our daily doings of daily life, especially if you're not an athlete. Like, some of us don't train to run a race. I know some people do. We train so that we can feel better in our everyday life. Therefore, your exercise should incorporate every part of your body. It's important to isolate certain parts when, let's say, speaking to injuries or speaking to post-childbirth. Like, sometimes you need to work on a specific area within, a balanced system of exercising that you have developed for yourself. People try to out-gym an unhealthy diet. Everything should be done within moderation. You can't think if you like train super hard in the gym, you can make up for your terrible eating choices. Or if you like work super hard during the week, you can while out on the weekend. I don't think that cheat days or cheat meals should be you going absolutely ham, like trying to consume every single thing. You're basically undoing all the work you've done. Cheat days or cheat meals should be considered. I think that they should be planned. Snacking versus grazing. I think that a lot of people, even me, I was a victim of this before I started like intermittent fasting, and now I'm introducing snacks to my diet. I used to graze, babes. I used to graze the whole day. I would eat anytime I felt like it, whenever I felt like it. Chew. That is my home nickname, like someone that just eats. You need to plan. So every snack that you're gonna have needs to be planned. I'm gonna have a bowl of popcorn and I'm gonna cook it myself. I'm gonna limit the amount of salt that I put on it, or the amount of spices that I put on it. Or I'm gonna have a cracker with some avo. Another meal is not a snack. That is not a snack. Like, you can't be having meals in between your meals, The perception that being fat is being unhealthy, or rather fat people should be monitored, surveilled, looked at funny when they're going to fast food chains, or the fact that fat people just don't deserve your humanity. And I'm speaking as a girl who's been curvy all her life. Like, obviously I'm coming from a point of privilege because I've got a certain body shape. When I gain weight, I gain in certain parts, so I'm not like speaking unaware of my own privilege. However, I just think that we need to be more considerate around how we associate being skinny to health and being fat to not being healthy. And we should interrogate why it's so important that even within our body positive circles, we want to persist and say, just because I'm fat doesn't mean I'm unhealthy. Babes, if you're unhealthy, that doesn't mean that people should see you as subhuman. I hope I said a lot of insightful things. I hope that you learned a lot from this video. Let me know if you could keep up with me cooking and talking. Did you enjoy that? Was it distracting? I know someone else said that my mukbang was too distracting. I enjoyed making this video. Thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed. If you are new, please click on the subscribe button. Don't forget to like this post, comment, engage with me on all socials. I love when you guys, you know, repost my videos on your Instagram. I think that's really nice. Thank you guys so much. I love you. The opinion edition of the I wanted to hit me.